Klein, ABC News political director from Washington. Good morning, Rick Klein.
Hey, great to be with you guys.
All right, so I don't even know where to begin with all of this. He's giving a speech.
My life.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think optimism is the word of the day from the White House, but I think there's so many distractions and so many extraneous factors in all this. I mean, my goodness, it's amazing. I can't remember a State of the Union that it felt as kind of crammed into the news cycle as this. Usually they stand alone. This one is in the middle of everything.
Yeah, so is he going to address the FBI memo? Is he going to address the Russian investigation? Is he going to touch on any of that, do you think?
Chris Christie, a good Trump friend, was just on Good Morning America. He says he doesn't expect it, and I think that's probably right. I think the memo is that's kind of the news of the day, and he's going to have to make that decision in the next few days. But even the Russia investigation, the problem for him is there's no real good answers. A lot of people have talked about Watergate and the height of Watergate. Richard Nixon did call for that investigation to come to an end. I don't think we're quite there from President Trump. I think he realizes that that's going to have to work its way through, and this is one of those moments he has to cut through the rest of the noise and talk about an agenda.
Yeah. I hear this word bipartisanship sort of bubbling up to the top. What's that strategy?
Flashy thing, maybe. I mean, the president talked about bipartisanship a year ago, and he said the time for petty fights are over now. And a couple of days later, he said Obama tapped his phone, totally unfounded. So we've heard words like this from the president before. We also know that his actions tend not to match them up with those words. So I wouldn't put too much stock into it. I think those are good applause lines, and I think a lot of Republicans will say, look, he's serious about reaching out across the aisle. Maybe some Democrats listen as well, but I think people have kind of trained to interpret Trump speak and realize that what matters a lot more are the actions instead of the words.
I guess the $64,000 question is it going to be like his inaugural speech that was unlike anything we've ever seen, or is it going to be more of a traditional State of the Union speech?
Yeah, all indications are more the latter than the former. That he doesn't view this as the venue to bring the American carnage type language into the speech. Also, Steve Bannon, who was responsible for some of that language, is long gone from the White House. But I think people are not going to, you can't look for him to just have a totally different policy take, but I think he's going to present his vision in a more uplifting way. And I think he's shown that when he needs to, he can read from a teleprompter successfully. He can clear that bar.
Yeah, we're also hearing a number of Democrats are refusing to go.
Yeah, it's a scattered number, but there's a decent chunk who are boycotting it for various reasons. This happened a year ago as well, even at the inaugural. People have cited his comments that they viewed as racist. Recently, the comment in the Oval Office about the so-called S-hole countries has got some people saying they don't want to go. Intriguingly, also, a lot of them are bringing guests that embody people that would be adversely impacted by the Trump policies, dreamers or transgendered or military members who are worried about their future under President Trump. So I think he'll see a lot of faces looking back at him that represent, if not quite the resistance, then something close to it.
Yeah. His guests in the room, that's always the best part of the State of the Union. I guess no one did it better than Ronald Reagan, but I suspect Donald Trump's guests are going to be pretty spectacular.
Yeah, Ronald Reagan sort of invented the genre with American heroes like that. This president, this White House, they're not too subtle. They're talking about families of people who were murdered by illegal immigrants. They're going to have some inspiring stories, including a double amputee who's blinded and still re-enlisted again in the military. Some really interesting things that way. But I think, the First Lady's box is always the way to highlight that. And a lot of people are also paying attention to the fact that the First Lady herself will be there. Her first public appearance since she canceled that Davos trip last week.
A whole other set of story. That's Rick Klein, ABC News political director. Rick, thanks for checking in.